Right? I mean, it's interesting that you could say Secretary Mnuchin's decision, while obviously not predicated on the fact that there will be a Biden administration, if there is a stimulus package that includes more state and local aid, it would seem to justify his kind of move, right?
Yeah, I think that there's if there is a situation where there's a significant amount of not only COVID relief generally for the economy, but specific targeted, and or a significant amount that can go to state and local governments, I think that that would be one thing. But we've seen going back to August that things are really moving slowly, if at all, on the COVID relief side. And it seems that aid for state and local governments has been one of the topics or one of the themes that's really slowed things up.
Right, for sure. And the reason why it's divisive is because, people don't want it to turn into a bailout when that money could be better spent on really suffering industries. And frankly, the municipal market, as you and your colleagues keep telling us, we've been doing a lot of coverage on it. The muni market has held up pretty well. I mean, who's even using this Fed facility? I thought it was basically just New Jersey or something, right?
Well, and the fact that the municipal liquidity facility has only been tapped by 2 issuers really shouldn't be you shouldn't look at municipal credit and think that just because it was tapped by two issuers that the worst isn't yet to come. I think that the worst is yet to come with regard to downgrades outpacing upgrades. I think that's going to end up happening for years. And the municipal liquidity facility was put together so it was really only supposed to be used as a last resort. In a situation like if we saw something like what we saw back in March and April, where issuers were not able to tap the market because back then the municipal bond market essentially froze. And the Fed put that program together as a last resort to make it so not only issuers could access liquidity, but also so the market knew that issuers had an opportunity to access liquidity if the market did freeze again.
Right. And I think the problem is we know that the Fed can do that again. If we spin forward 6 months, depending on what happens with the next relief package, if we start getting headlines about layoffs and defaults and major cities needing to file for bankruptcy and that kind of thing, I mean, don't we all expect that the Fed or somebody will step up and say, hey, look, we're here to backstop this market to make sure that it doesn't create a broader credit crunch. But, and Congress can act too. So it sort of feels like why act now with money that the restaurants, the hotels, all these different industries. We had a segment earlier this hour about whether a second stimulus check should be coming. Why keep those funds appropriated for the muni market?
Yeah, first of all, those layoffs in the state and local government sector are already happening. Over the last 2 months, we saw about 300,000 layoffs in the state and local government sector. I expect that without targeted, significant aid for state and local governments, that's going to continue. And I expect that when we see levels of revenue at the state and local government continue to drop, because I understand there's all kinds of enthusiasm about the fact that vaccines are going to be ready in a matter of months, but the point at which those vaccines are ready to be distributed, number one, and then number two, the fact that state and local government revenues and revenues for airports and transportation issuers, that's not going to come back immediately. Those revenue streams are going to take months, if not in some cases years, to come back.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.